Hey,
Hey,
Harold.
Harold.
Hey, Ken.
Hi, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny.
Good evening.
Yep. Good evening.
Oh my gosh.
Huh.
Let's see if he makes it
When did he land?
this morning.
Oh, see if he's awake.
You came back with Vagos?
Oh,
That's a good question.
Vagos came back as well.
Harold, I spoke to Rabbi Chopper. That was his grandson.
What happened?
He says he suffered from something from birth.
Oh, how old was he?
Maybe, is it 20, I think?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he had some, I don't know exactly what, but he had it from birth. So he was, I guess, that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Somebody said that, Israeli businessmen, I guess that is, went to India to
Yeah.
get workers.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I
A
bet there
lot.
was a line of 10,000 people for
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Effie sent it to me. Effie
Yeah.
Nissim. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was like, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, somebody else told me they were using Indian workers now. So
Just make sure they're not Muslim Indians, because a lot of Muslims in India. You gotta vet
they're
them.
not?
They were Hindus, believe they were checking them. There were 10, they were, you know how many they lined up? Lined up about 10,000 people.
10,000.
They were there from the whole night.
Crazy. Love
I
it.
don't know if you saw the, yeah.
Listen, a lot of people need work,
Hello, Kenny.
Yeah.
especially in those countries.
Kenny, you're not saying hello to
Michael Katz, his helper was from India.
Who's
I mean,
helper?
he's from Michael Katz.
Oh, he's an Indian
Yeah,
guy.
he had two helpers. One, they were great, according to him, but they're from India.
In Dubai, also the workers are Indian, by the way. In Dubai, they don't allow Palestinians.
There's
No
a lot.
Arabs, only.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Welcome back, Ernie.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Good to be back. I was thinking about you, Kenny, in Hadera.
Thank you. I'll be there in a week. You went for Shabbos to the beach?
No, we had a bas mitzvah Shabbos in Yerushalayim.
Nice.
Drove to see Ir HaYamim and the Briga building, and it's on the way to Hadera, right there.
Well, Yomi is outside of Netanya.
It's in Netanya. What do you mean? It's right there.
It's a suburb of Netanya.
Piano, that whole area.
Yeah. I was looking at an apartment many years ago there.
Chaval.
Ramat Pelek. What? Yeah, Chaval. You're right.
Okay, pay hey.
It's okay. Kenny's going to buy for us all over there in Khadera. You're going to buy a nice.
Let's check it out for everybody. I'm going to see if I can get like 5 in a row, one for each of us.
Okay.
Fine.
Great. I'm working on Susie. I'm working, it's if there's by the way, If you have a group of people, it doesn't make a difference where you buy. It'll be more fun. Okay. Oimdim kama adam kayotze b'zerotze lito. When we calculate pain and suffering, how much would a person pay to be afflicted with that pain? That's l'chora what it means. I always learn pshat that how much would a person pay to get rid of the pain? But you're going to see from the Gemara tonight that it's not. It's what would a person pay in order to have that pain? Now, how do you do the calculation if the pain is in the same area where the damage is? Because sometimes people have pain in a different area. How much would a person pay to have somebody cut off his hand? So the Gemara says, it's not just pain. You have ripu, you have medical bills, you have shevet, you have disability, it's not just tsar. Are we dealing with crazy people who's going to accept payment to have his hand cut off? Ella liktoes yodak. What's talking about here? Person has a withered arm from polio. How much would a person pay to have that arm removed? Doesn't work anyways. So you got to go to a surgeon to do an amputation. How much would you pay to have it done? That's the comparison. So the Gemara says, that's not a real aktuanami. If you're going to pay to somebody to cut off a withered arm, it's not just pain that you're dealing with. Hatsar uboishasik, there's embarrassment. Person embarrassed to walk around without an arm. It's also lemishko. Lemishne. Leklovim. It's an embarrassment to take an arm and throw it to dogs to eat. Ella, oimdim, so you were in Saudi Arabia. You stole something. Maybe the rules have changed. It used to be that if you stole in Saudi Arabia, they'd cut your arm off. So how much would you pay to a doctor to cut your arm? In Bain al-Sam and or Lasai. They could put some kind of lotion that causes the arm to wither without pain versus using a sword where there'll be pain. That differential that you'd be willing to pay to have it without pain, that is what he has to pay. Still says the Gemara, person's not going to pay to have that done to him. Certainly, everyone would rather use the lotion than being put in pain. That's the final pshat. How much what's the differential between the sword and the elixir? That's what you would end up paying. So Gemara says, pay, halitol. It should say litain maboile, to pay. Rav Huna, Braid Rav Yeshua, litol zemizeh, mashanosin lezeh. How much you would pay to the king to avoid that differential of pain. Then ripui, medical payment. Ikol chayv l'rafoso. If you injured somebody, you have to heal him. And then we said if boils grew, it depends. If it's related to the wound, you'd be chayiv to pay for that. If it's unrelated, you're potter. Tarabah. All about smochim machmas maka v'nistra maka. You had some blisters that opened up because of the wound, and the wound opened up because of those. Chayiv l'raposo. You have to repeat the medical treatment for the primary wound. V'chayiv l'itelot dmei shifta. If he's off for 2 weeks or 6 weeks from his job, you have to pay him his salary. Now, if the blisters shalomach masamaka, they arose not because of the wound. Ein chayiv raposo. You're not chayiv for that. Ein chayiv litin lo dmei shifto. And if there's added disability, stay home at work, stay home from work, you don't have to pay that. But Rav Yudah Rav Machal Samaka chayiv l'raposo. Even the blisters that arise because of the wound, you don't have to heal them. You have to heal it, but Eino Chayiv Litalot Mei Shift. Rav Yudah says you don't have to pay that he's off of work. The Chachamim Oimrim Shifto V'Refuos. They go hand in hand. Kol Shechayv B'Sheves Chayiv B'Ripui. If you're chayiv in the disability payment, you're chayiv in the medical payment. She'eino chayiv b'sheves, eino chayiv b'rifui. If you're not chayiv to pay the disability, you're not chayiv to pay the medical. But my komiflugi, what's the machlokas? Amar Rava, ashkachin l'rabbanan. Hey Rav, the Yasmi v'Kamri. I found the chacham in yeshiva learning. Hochal b'maken nitne le'eged kamiflugi. Are you allowed to bandage up your wound so you don't have immediate pain, even though down the road it may cause other damaging things? People get a cast put on their arm, but you can get a rash, you can get pus. So one mandamer holds Rabbanan Savri makenit leget. The wound should be treated the way it should be treated, even if the cast is going to lead to other medical problems. You have to put out money for that. They're considered part of the original market. You have to pay for it. So you're not required to pay for any medical problems that occur because you put on the cast. The Torah repeated rapo yirape, a double language. So therefore mechayiv for the medical payment, but sheves, the disability payment, shalot harabekra, where the pasuk did not repeat it, lo mechayiv. That's how the Chachamim in that yeshiva explain this machlokes. But v'aminu lu'ano, I understood, according to Rabbi Yehuda, makelo nit nilagid, and you're not allowed to put a cast on. So are you telling me ripu nami lo mechayev? So what do you mean? You don't have to treat him, you have to treat him medically. So that doesn't make any sense. So what's the machlokas? Kula alma makanit nilagid. The doctor is allowed to put a cast on. But the lo nit nilagid yisera. You can't put sort of the superfluous bandage. So ripu de tarabekra, he has to pay for it. Mechayev sheves lo tarabekra lo mechayev. Rabbanan sorry, kivin the tarabekra berifui, hasheves time mechayev. The iskish le ripui. Once you're required to pay for the ripui, you're required to pay for the sheves because there's a hekesh between ripui and sheves. What does Rav Yudah say to that? Rav Yudah says sheves lo mechayev. because there's a miyut, the miyate rachman, a rock shifto yitain, v'rapo yirape. It's a miyut. What do the Rabbanan do v'rak? Rak is for the blister shalom, machal samaki hudas. That I don't have to pay for the medical treatment for blisters that are unrelated to the primary wound. Rabbanan Basroi, later the Achronim to Amri, Choshechayev b'sheves chayev b'ripui. That sheves and ripui go hand in hand. If there's a chiyuv for disability payment, there's a chiyuv for medical payment. Koshen chayev b'sheves, ein chayev b'ripui. Ripui the tana beikra for this is used for something else. Meboilech the tana ve Rabbi Shmuel. The tana ve Rabbi Shmuel v'rapoy rapay. Mikan shenitin reshus l'rope l'rapois. We had a Havamina before the Torah said that you can go to a doctor and be healed. That you have to be somech like Kodesh Baruch Hu. And in fact, going to a doctor might have been an Aveira. This is no. Hashem gave the doctors a reshus, a permission to heal. Torah Rabban. Minayin shemalabot smochim machal samaka v'nistra amaka. Blisters arose because of the wound. And now because of the blisters, the wound opened up. Chayiv l'rapoisa. You have to treat him again. V'chayiv litin lo shivto. These added days, you'd have to pay disability. How do you know this? Talmud Loimar, rak shivto yitin rapoi rapeh. Maybe that's the nafilu. Shalom achal sabak, even blisters that arose not related to the makkah. Talmud Loimar, rak. Rabbi Yisrael Oimer, that potter, that the blisters arose because of the wound, you'd be potter. Shnema rak, which is the miut. Ikedi amri, av machazamaka potter. If the blisters arise because of the wound, you're potter. For ripui and sheves. Kirabonim basroi, like the later chachamim. That even if the blisters arose because of the wound, you would not have to pay disability. But chayiv beripui keman kavua, which is his father of Yehuda. Amar Amar Yachol afil shalom matnas machmas amake. I might think you're chayiv to pay medical damages for blisters that arose not from the wound. Talmud Loimar rak. So, do I need a pasuk? Shalom achal samaka boy kra. If it has nothing to do with the wound, why would I have to pay? Amri, my shalom achal samaka. What is it? What's the definition of shalom achal samaka? The Kidatani. Aresha overall divrei rofe. The doctor told him that you can't eat honey or sweets. Honey and sugar are bad for wound healing. And the wound had blisters. So I might think you'd have to pay for the medical treatment of the blisters. Rock. My karkutni amrabaya, not a krichta, like dead flesh. My asuta, all of akira kalba, aloe, wax, application. The armor lay. If the one who got damaged was a doctor, and he says, Asyachana, I'll heal myself, I'll treat myself. My sina asya the mugin b'mugin. I'd still bring a doctor to heal him. So that he doesn't have to pay anything. Armalei, asya the mugin b'mugin. Because he knew a doctor, and you ask him a favor to treat him without payment. So he says, what do you mean? A doctor who refuses payment, he's not worth anything. V'yomer ma'asinlecha aser rechika, I'll bring you a specialist from far abroad. Armelei aser rechika ein avira. He doesn't know local customs and practices. And he's not as concerned about the health of the person of this town as because he's a stranger. V'yomer le'eich havli lididi the one who got damaged says to the mazik, give me the money, I'll heal myself. We say no. You were lazy with your own actions, and by your lack of getting a doctor, because you'll be misrashal with that as well, you're going to do more damage. Set me a special price, $100, and I'll take care of it. Or they call came to B'Shap and Nafshla. You're certainly going to be negligent with yourself because sometimes it needs more than that. The Koreli Shora Mazik. People will call you Shora Mazik. I cause them a damage, they won't heal. Tana. The Kulon Mishtam B'Mokum Nezek. Besides the Nezek payment, you have to pay these other things. Tsar, Ripui, Sheves. Anonymity. Besides the damage payment, you have to pay pain and suffering. So Petzapachas Patza is needed for something else. I'm a boy lay the Rabbi Shogeg Kamezid Voinis Karatzon. That there is no Shogeg and Mazid and Onus. You have to pay. Im Kain Nichtav Kro Petza Bepetza. My Petza Tachas Patza Shmami not taught to be learned both halachas. Rav Papa Mishmei Rav Amakra. V'rapoy Rapay Liten Refuv Malcolm Nezek. Besides the damage payment, you have to pay medical treatment. So the Gemara says, I'm a boy like Tana Ve'Rabbi Shmuel. The Tana Ve'Rabbi Shmuel, V'rapoy Rapay Mikanshenet Rishus L'Ropay L'Rapoys. That from here, a doctor got the permission to heal. Imkei Nichtav Kra V'Ropay Rapay. Shmami no, Litin Refuv Malcolm Nezek. You need both. It comes to teach me both. We need the pasuk from the double language. We also learned, so you're taking that away. You change. You pay medical treatment on top of the damage. How do you see that people will have medical payments, pain, embarrassment, distant from where the makkah is? I'll give me an example. So, Tsar Kediktani. Tsar, when you get touched by a hot poker, I feel it's important. Even a place where there's no wound, you feel pain. And ripui, which occurs not in the Malkam Nezek, da'ava ke'ev le'midi, has severe pain. The sok v'aslei sama charifa, and the mazik came and put some very strong elixir on it, and it vachver lebisra, and it burnt. It gave him a second-degree burn on his skin. Now he needed to go to a doctor to be cured from the burn. Sheves, the hot ke bin junavatle. The person was confined in a closed-off place. He wasn't able to go to his job. Where he, for example, didn't cause any physical damage to the person. Boishes, what is Boishes not in the place of Nezek? The Adke bin Drun of Atle. I'm sorry. Kigon Derak Leba, you spit him in the face. There's no physical damage. There's just embarrassment. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Well, let's continue. Yeah, we have a few minutes. Sheves, Rhino Sokilu Shomer Kishuin. Person's off of work for 2 weeks. You have to pay him a daily rate of a person who's hired to watch cucumbers. Torah bonus. Sheves, Rhino Sokilu Shomer Kishuin. Vim Toimar. Loksa Midas Adin. What does that mean? When the guy is healed, he could take more than that kind of pain. He's like a water carrier of pails and buckets, which is more pain, because he's able to do more. Or he can go as a shaliach and take payment for that. So what does it mean? Midas adin lo like so shekvar nasan lo tmei yodav tmei raglo. You paid for his damage. He hurt an arm, he hurt his leg. So this is on top of it. Amarava kites yodo. If you cut off his hand, noitzan lo tmei yodav. You pay for the payment for the loss of the hand. Sheves roinos okilu shomer kishuin. You see him. How much would you pay him to watch your cucumbers? You have to walk around the area. Im shiveres raglo nosalad me raglo this sheves roinos okilu shomer sapesach. You pay him as if he was a guard, somebody who's watching the front door. He can't be used as a shomer kishuim. Shomer kishuim has to walk around all the time, the field to watch it. Then him siemens, if you blinded him, how much disability? You give him a job to grind a mill. Even a blind person, Shimshon did that. If Chir Shufi was plowing, Noisan Lumekulo. I'm sure that's what happened when they didn't find the person who initially started the problem. Okay, we'll stop here. And we will continue now with Tsurba. I'm going to sign off, and then we'll sign back on in 30 seconds.